battalion commander gathered us together and said, "I give the order to shoot, to kill. I give the permission to destroy the Kazakhs' ethnic slur for Russians at any cost." We got into the tanks and drove off. Everyone here got contusion, and everyone in this tank got it twice so. This box is responsible for ballistics. It costs $1 million. It has gold inside. Seriously, real gold. Yeah, real gold. Darn, that's tough. What happened? Always hits here. The enemy is still adjusting fire, so they chaotically hit buildings nearby. That is, randomly. This is the task. The infantry must be covered, and the infantry cannot cope with the enemy's armored vehicles. So we are always ready, always like firefighters, in a semi-ready state. Chikatilo, tank commander. We are now on combat duty 8 kilometers from the enemy. We are waiting for the command when the enemy starts some serious actions. When there's some serious targets, not just 5 infantrymen, but 10 or 15 armored vehicles. We have had this vehicle since the beginning. We received it on the 25th, got it from the storage base. Because all the battalion vehicles out of 31, only 2 were left. And this vehicle, yes, a long time ago, number 905, on February 25 to 26, it was sent to defend Mykolaiv, and now it is fighting near Donetsk. What's up? Has it warmed up at least? Not much. I know that you've already explained it to me. What is it? Tell the audience what this tube is. Armor, right? What kind of armor? Protection from shrapnel. These boxes are shrapnel protection. No, I'm not guessing right. Tell me. It's active armor. There is plastic explosive inside it. It protects against a high explosive anti-tank, an ETGM. It flew far away. It protects against active and mostly against ETGMs because infantry likes to shoot ETGMs. What is an ETGM? It is an infantry-guided missile. It's aimed and guided right up to the target. It can be 2 kilometer and 4-something kilometer ranges. That's why we don't like to get closer than 4 kilometers. We always feel that there could be ETGM somewhere. Maybe there is not, but we are afraid of it, because we have already lost all this armor once. You see, it is no longer factory-made. We weld new boxes ourselves. There was armor here, but as you can see, it is gone. So we welded all to provide further protection. Because it is very unpleasant to get that incoming hits. There isn't, but you plan to set more there. We don't plan. You say it was there. It was supposed to be on the curtain. There's a rubber covering to keep the mud out. Well, it has already blew the curtain off, and a new piece of rubber needs to be cut. The tracks will protect it. Well, we hope that the tracks will protect. The main thing is that it protects the tank's ammo. Because if the ETGM hits the side where there are no shells, it will fuse it, and we may still survive, but if it hits the part where the ammo is, we will not know that it hit us, we will not be alive. Did this vehicle get hit? This one? Yes, twice we restored it, twice it was hit. There are small fragments and large fragments. In general, a shell falls 2 or 3 meters away and pierces the small armor, which is easy to change. Everyone here has received concussion, and everyone in this vehicle has received it twice already. It's mundane thing here. It's through this hatch, so we have to watch out so that sometimes it does not throw the sabots well, so that piles up here. One fell, another fell, and when the third one is thrown, it falls right back into the tank and the system there. So we have to look at it closely. The shot trap is even so bad that I have to manually lift it after each shot to make it throw it out. Yes, it has a smart system. It has K1. This box is responsible for ballistics. It costs $1 million. It has gold inside. Seriously, real gold. Yeah, real gold. In Soviet times, they did not spare it. Leopards and Abrams are new vehicles that have not yet passed, as such, combat tests. They haven't used in direct and long combat, and here we have protracted fight. This vehicle passed combat tests, and it is showed its reliability, and that vehicles will have to be tested for reliability. There is a different crew there, 4-person crew. These are also new people, not recruited from the people who are fighting here. Therefore, these are new people, and they also need to have some combat experience. So Abrams and Leopard will come, and it needs to fight for a month or two to understand whether the vehicle is combat ready or not. It may arrive, and in the first battle, something may break simply because of the load it receives. Like and share this video. Isn't it dangerous that it is so close to them, and they can spot? That's why we hide it in the forest belts and move out mostly early in the morning, when the sun is not up and it is not so clearly visible. That is around 6 o'clock. When summer comes at 5 o'clock, at this time the tank will be here, it will be camouflaged. It always hits here. While the enemy is adjusting fire, they tactically hit buildings somewhere else. That is randomly. Yes, they hit randomly. If he had hit here, and we gathered and left here with tanks running away from one shell, we would have revealed the positions. That's why we mostly wait until it hits here 3 times. Then we can turn around and leave, realizing that the enemy sees us. Most of the time, it happens that one shell is a targeting one, fired somewhere randomly, maybe aiming at a tank that is working a kilometer away, but they missed by a kilometer and hit here. Moment. Wait, Collier. Have to put legs forward, and there it is. Do you fit? I threw a lot of things out here. There should be a membrane here. There should be a seat here, different stuff that takes up space. Well, I try to be careful with all this, so that when I shoot, my elbow does not get knocked off. Because the pressure here is crazy, the gun recoils. So if you throw this seat out, put your head in there, legs in there, you lie on your side in full height. With my height of 1.90 meters, I can lie in full height. People think it is unrealistic. But in fact, when you stay in this place for a long time, you get used to it completely. Can you spend the night in a tank? I have spent the night in a tank, yes. For 7 days, when you're on combat duty, you sleep right in the forest belt. The gunner sleeps there, I sleep here, the driver sleeps in his place. It must be cold in this can. It's cold, it is freaking cold. You sleep for 4 hours and you can't sleep anymore. Sleep while it is still warm. And if it is not warm, you sleep even less than 4 hours. This fatigue accumulates, it is very hard. Very, very hard. We signed a contract. Well, not in the mobilized battalion where I served, but where people were needed. Here they needed people to be the tank crews. There were 20 of us. We signed members of tank crew contract. And since it was a 6-month contract, we were not sent to train. Because training lasted for 4 months, there was no point in it. Because there was already a war. Well, the war came in the 4th month of the contract. The brigade went to the training grounds on drills and needed people to drive tanks. They showed us literally the most basic things. This is a tank, this is a gun. Hold on to this away from the gun. The drivers got in and drove off. The tank is driven onto the lowboy trailers, and that's it. We did the same thing at the 2nd training ground when the brigade was relocating. We were there, and then when the war was declared on the 24th, we were woken up at 4 in the morning on alert. We got up, took our assault rifles, ran, got into a press truck, arrived to the tanks, started the tanks, drove off, and lined up. The battalion commander gathered us together and said, I give the order to shoot, to kill. I give the permission to destroy the cats at any cost. We got into the tanks and drove off. We rode all day, and in the evening we arrived at Antnevsky Bridge. And since then, I was not trained to be a commander, I was just a gunner. I was just good as a tank commander, and my company commander saw that I was worthy of being a tank commander and made me a commander. I fire mainly from closed positions. I do it very often. The 11th, to which the infantry is attached, all greet me by the hand, because they know that Chikatilo is right behind them, covering them. I was told by the company adjusters that when permission to open fire is given, they like to hear me transmit Chikatilo is firing. And everyone is gathering to hear this Chikatilo is firing. And they say, you say it's so cool that everyone's spirits are raised because you're out shooting. And so on 5 times a day, 10, 15, 50, 60 shells a day. We use 10 to 15 shells per sortie. When we liberated Kherson, we were transferred here. As soon as we arrived here, my company commander once told me to get in the tank. We were just on the train, just unloading the tank from the platform. Before getting a room even, I had to get in a tank and go to war because the enemy is already attacking. The 56th Brigade was here, but they could not stand it. So I went out, as my company commander says, to party spending all money. We shot them for 4 days, and then finally they calmed down. In the Kherson direction, we were given more ammunition. But the enemy also had more artillery. The enemy did not have so many armored vehicles, and the enemy did not have that many forces. They did not send that much personnel back there. There is artillery here, but there is less of it. It does not follow any of our movements so intensively to attack. But they are sending so much infantry here that God help us. Here, every day, every sortie you shoot at the same point, because the same point is occupied by enemy infantry every day. They don't care about this infantry, especially the mobilized ones. In Kherson region, there were never so many while here. To hell with this infantry. There is just lots of them, you have to shoot them down. You have to shoot them down all the time. Darn, that's tough. What happened? What happened? I don't know. There was incoming hits, but not us as I was told. But it was so loud that I crawled under a tank. Dumb, I did not think I'd do it so fast. Well, you were told to hide under a tank, so you did the right thing. We will clean this up. That's all. Yes, they'll drive it back. Let them drive the tank. Let's go, we will get back a little bit. Okay. It's safer here, right? In this caponnier, a defensive structure, yes. If a shell falls from the side and the tank isn't in a caponnier, the shrapnel can damage its tracks. Its rolls could be damaged. And when he's standing in the caponnier, the shrapnel mostly fly over him. If it hits the tower, it is no big deal. It'll just bounce off. We drove it too far away, so now we are going to drive them back here.
Далеко відігнали, зараз звідти прижени сюди.
It takes 2 to 3 minutes to warm it up. And how far is it from us now? You have to walk 100 meters to get there. Let's take a walk then. Usually it is here. But now they had just started the engine. If it was a shitty engine, we had to start it with mass lift. What does mass lift mean? The emergency start of the machine with an olive injection. 50 grams of olive is burned and gives a boost, and the engine starts. But now you have to warm up the engine. Yes, it is a T-64. It is a different type of engine. The T-72 has a V-shaped diesel engine. And in the T-64, pistons are opposite each other like that. How so? Well, like this. 4 cylinders, 8 pistons. Horizontal. Whoa. Wow. It's lower in one part, and its nose is higher than in the T-72. One hit close to the other, you see. What the heck is going on? Over there on the hill, they completely straddled the entire territory. Bradmore's looks like maybe they were shooting at the T-72nd. The one that was in the forest strip. Yes, the one we seen when we're there. But it is not shooting now, it is just standing. Yes, it is just standing there, but they can just straddle the area, in the hope that the crew would jump into the vehicles, drive away and disclose their position. And the hit was right there. Start it up, let it warm up. They could just fire randomly. Here we go. It's engine preheating system of the T-64 that started up. Autonomous hint. Well, it depends on the situation. If a shell goes over, the side of the vehicle burns with fire. So it can't shoot anymore. Yes, we need to change the barrel, otherwise it will explode. Unless we cut it. It'll be a sawed-off gun. Can you shoot from a sawed-off tank gun? Well, it will shoot, but it is no use, you know. Just blow it through, and we will leave it at that. Oh, this is our response. Now we're the ones who are shooting. These shot too close, I think they even could have hit us. Was it the vehicle they were looking for? For sure they were looking for the one who used to drive here. But to hell, show the tank up now, they will start to straddle us. Nothing hits here. A shell just happens to hit, they don't know we're here. It was then that you and Volvo were warming up the tank here. Yes, and there was an incoming hit. This is a problem with the T-64. It needs to be warmed up every 4 hours if it is below zero. It has such an engine. What can you do? Yes, mechanics have to do. Well, actually, everyone is on duty. Yes, that's all. The whole crew is on duty around the clock when it needs to be warmed up every 4 hours. So if it stays, for example, for a day without warming up, if the temperature is minus 10 Celsius during the day and you manage to start the engine, it will be something fantastic. Really, there's a road. We can go that way. They aren't shooting at us. Wait a bit. This is not the place they are shooting at, I agree. You have to wait for 10 seconds. The shell can fly for 10 seconds. Okay, let's go. Does this happen often? All the time. You can see the results of the shellings in front of you. It hit the wheel right in the middle. The tank's tracks were wrecked and the barrel was damaged. Flying. Enemy aircraft or what? Sometimes it is aircraft. When you are sitting there on the front line, 4 kilometers away you see enemy birds working with direct fire. Our aircraft are also working. But it is scary to sit in a tank and see an enemy fighter jet. The infantry does not have time to destroy them with air defense. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. When they get close to the contact line, they don't have time. But when they fly further over the contact line, our infantry shoots them down. We've just had to refuel the tank and unload it as it is going to be repaired. It cannot be sent for repair together with ammunition, so we had to take out all of it. But we don't do it because it is daytime. The sky is clear and the enemy can see us well. And it is not desirable to disclose the position where tanks stay at night and generally are on combat duty, because it is hard to find a spot good like that. That's why we're not going to do it now. Evening will come. Dusk will fall, or it will be cloudy, then we will do it. But this is unlikely. We will probably do it at 1 am. We'll drive the tanks away from there at night. Well, he waits for the command until the troll is free, and it is taken away.